All right, this video is not going to be about aim or crazy flanks. I just want to show you how I win fights by controlling the map. Most people don't realize how powerful it is just to hold space and pressure lanes. And when you do it right, the enemy gets less and less room to play. They start using cooldowns earlier and they get stuck up in really bad spots. It's not super flashy and sometimes it's boring, but it wins games. And I think it's something a lot of players overlook. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Okay, so to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I need to define two terms. And one of the terms is going to be map control. So right now, with map control, it's basically how much space of the map your team owns. And because we're coming out in the middle here, you can just assume that both teams kind of start out owning the map 50-50, right? Now, Overwatch is broken down into what people call lanes, and I'm going to say there's going to be lane 1 up top here and lane 2 down here, okay? And this is normally going to be where you're trying to fight to hold angles. What's going to happen is our team split 2-3. So we have our core of our team running top up here, and then we have other people running here, and Lucio can easily bounce back and forth because he's very fast, right? What's going to happen is we want to try to run to the middle as fast as possible in order to grab this mega right here and to also grab the natural cover here in order to make this a long hallway and take as much map as possible. So as we come up here, you can already see that I was given this space. This team could have done better at taking that middle position, and we beat them there to it, meaning that I'm already set up in a power position in this hallway, which means that they now need to use resources in order to push us out of that hallway, right? We're going to watch how this map kind of plays out with all of our little circles here, and how we can take advantage of the situation. So that you can already see that they're using a lot of resources. I'm going to explain them in a second in a first person point of view in order to walk in and try to take map control. And now, as they used all their resources and then we go in, you can tell that we're able to get the kill on their tank, right? This basically all happened because we were able to take so much map control at first, which allowed us to actually clean up this fight and win the fight. Very, very simple concepts, right? All right, so as we break down the first person point of view, you can already see that I'm pinging to go to this side, right? And my team is calming that we already kind of made this up. You can see me take the power position, and I'm kind of like, wow, that was really easy to get this power position. And remember, it gives me that hallway that I'm talking about. I always talk about hallways and how you want to be able to limit and predict enemy movement of where they're supposed to be. Now, if they want to start walking at us, they have to take damage coming in, which once again, we are able to get the Tracer recall. We see the speed here, the speed ring, and we see the Ramatra shift all at the same time, meaning we now need to back up. And the Juno just threw her thing as well. So we're all backing up. Their team's running out of resources. They just used everything to make that push into the space that we own, which allows us to get the counter punch, and we're able to get the kill on the Ramatra, and then eventually the Brig, and then I get the kill on the Freya, and we clean up the fight because they had no resources left, right? Now, all of that happens whenever you zoom out of the game, and you're able to look at it from the top down. Now, I'm going to give you one more example of basically the same thing, but against like a less experienced team. All right, to show you an example that's pretty close, but it's not the exact thing, is I'm going to show you this, right? So this game is already in, like, we're losing this game, right? We're actually losing it. Their Sojourn is coming back. Now, I'm going to make this an example because I want to show how high-level players can use numerical advantages in order to just absolutely dominate fights, okay? And this is how I do it, at least. So whenever we think about this map again, remember, we have those two lanes, and then it's split in half. And because their Sojourn's dead, it allows me to take this really wide lane here and this super, super wide angle, which is effectively going to give us all of the map control in the entire game. Like if we just draw it out how much map control we own all of that, while their team only owns this, and they need to use a bunch of resources in order to get out, right? Remember, this is why our Junkrat is so good, because he's able to control these lanes against like Tracer and stuff, and he's basically doing the work nobody else wants to do. So if you look here in this position, we own like the whole map, and they are going to be trapped, and it's going to be almost impossible for them to even get out just because we own those two lanes. You're going to see just from our bubbles how we're able to do it. Now, Bill absolutely destroys that Tracer and then starts going and poking in and pinching the backline. Like plays like this where you just pinch their team, we are giving them basically no space at all. Like we just completely are isolating their entire team. So fast, we're able to take advantage of these situations. So as we see them pop their ultimates to try to even up the fight, we end up just absolutely dominating it and winning it, and then we start taking back the advantage. We ended up winning this game after the end of the snowball here because of how good that fight was for us. So I zoomed out and I talked to you that I wanted to immediately take this lane because it's going to be giving me this hallway, and it's basically going to make the enemies retreat only down this low ground hallway, which is not good at all for them. So I immediately walk in. Once again, Bill wins down 1v1, which is great. And then we're basically able to just take advantage of our insane angles, force them to use ults, and then they end up losing the game because of it, right? All right, so in this example, this is going to be King's Row. Now, my team is the red team. We are on attack. We are playing against the blue team, which is on defense, okay? Now, we just need to push the cart to this little rectangle, and then we win the game. Now, whenever we talk about King's Row in terms of lanes on this side, this is what it's going to look like, right? So we have the lane down the middle, okay? And that's like main, right? That's playing down main, and that's where the cart's going to be. And that's currently where I am right now. And then we have a little bit of an off lane, which is going to be going on this side here. I'm actually going to make that a different color. I'm going to make this off angle, like this off lane. I'm going to make that red because it's a lot more dangerous to go down that path because you usually don't have people helping you. But right now, we're trying to take as much of the map as possible because their team is still coming back from spawn. You can see how we're doing this right now. Right now, I'm holding mid. We have our flex DPS player on the cart, moving it. And we have our tank pushed all the way up, being helped by our flex support. So as we kick out their team starts rotating because they want to start playing down main in order to stop them at the cart right here. And this is going to be the main position for them to hold. Now, as that happens, okay, remember, we were holding both lanes, which allowed us to force them out of this lane, and they had to start stacking towards this main angle here. And then our tank rotates main because as a tank, you kind of always want to be playing main generally. And I realized that this bottom lane was left wide open. Even though I'm Sojourn, I probably should be playing down main, but if this lane is wide open, that is going to allow me to have a perfect angle to shoot down another hallway that I like to talk about, which allows their team to be pinched into the tiniest little kill box that has ever existed on King's Row, meaning that my team has now full map control. Like, this is all of our map that we are currently owning, and that is their map space. That is what map control is. And low-level teams will always be dominated in terms of the map control game, which is basically going to be forcing them into this little tight area. Now, I take a good angle, but I unfortunately get killed here, which happens. But even though I get killed, they had to use these two people so many resources in order to force me out of this position, while my team was able to just walk them down into that hallway and kill them all. All right, so as we're coming here, we're coming to this rotator around. I'm just basically looking for where their team is. Ramattra kicked them out. I thought they would be there, and I'm like, oh man, they're actually not here. Like, you saw me waste my E. And then I just start taking this angle here because this is going to create a nice hallway. Plus, I can dip out to cover right away. And this is creating a crossfire with my team right now that is just absolutely devastating. So if you look at, like, say, my flex DPS right here, like, look, he's just spamming into like the tiniest corridor and hitting every single shot because I basically herded them like sheep into a corner, and they had to use all these resources to kill me, but in return they ended up losing the fight and then ultimately losing the game. Okay, so this next example is going to be us opening up on King's Row. So basically what this map is going to look like is King's Row is a little bit different in terms of like map control and taking angles because it's not as symmetrical and clear as Runasapi. But if we look at King's Row, basically there's a couple lanes, right? There's this lane in the hotel, there's a lane up to high ground, and obviously there's the lane through the middle, right? You can even make this like split as a fork. And that's why King's Row is pretty interesting, right? So basically the whole idea of King's Row attack is to clear the enemy out of the high ground, right? You do not want these people in the high ground because they have a free access to point and to shoot down on point. So you're going to see how our hazard is able to very, very quickly take space and clear people out, while I'm going to be trying to take the space in the middle and play to the best of my abilities. I'm going to be trying to take the space in the middle, and our Junkrat's going to be trying to take space in the hotel, which is basically going to be giving us access to the 3 lanes on the map. So you're going to see how we do it. Junkrat goes and takes the middle. He takes hotel. I take the middle here, which is giving me pressure down on this lane. And our hazard immediately clears top. Now this already, because their team was able to get forced out of these positions so quickly, this already is going to give us a huge advantage of the fight. Remember, I am sitting in this lane. So if they ever want to cross down into this lane because of this hazard forcing them out, they are now going to be trapped. And what their map control is going to look like right now is they are going to be trapped over here in this little corner, while our team is going to control every single thing on the map. And you can already probably assume who's going to get dominated this fight, right? It's pretty easy to tell. Let's just let it play out, and you can see exactly what happens, okay? You can see that how much space we own, how they're getting completely forced into this little box right here. Once again, we just keep holding these angles because remember, they still can't get out of their little box. If they try to get out, they get eaten alive. And then we end up winning the fight. I mean, that's really it. No other words other than that, right? Now, let's go into the first-person view of what it looks like from my end whenever we went into that fight. So I explained to you from like the macro perspective and the zoomed out perspective of what it looks like. Now this is what like the micro looks like of like my aim and everything like that, my target priority and whatever. You can see how patient I am letting my tank go in first and engage first before I walk in. And then I realize that this lane is open. This is such a great angle and it's taking a very nice hallway. And this is going to allow me to just get free damage on the enemy. Remember that Kiriko got forced out because you see my hazard up top. It allows us to once again just keep firing into a hallway. We take just more and more space. Their team's falling apart in the resource war so bad. Their Ramatra shift ends up getting forced, and he runs out into Africa, gets walled back in, cleanse gets popped, TP gets popped, and you can just see that he goes down right there. And, you know, in 5v5 Overwatch, I always say if your tank goes down, you lose the fight. I hope that that made sense in terms of how I think about like map control and how you can try to apply that to your games. And also why sometimes your teammates suck in rank. So if you liked the video, if you learned something, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Please consider becoming a member for coaching. It also helps support the channel. I love you guys.